No man. Because God and nature first made us what we are. And out of our own creative genius, we make ourselves what we want to be. Follow always that great law. Let God in the sky be our limit and eternity our measures. There is no height to which you cannot climb without the active intelligence of your own mind. Mind creates. And as much as we desire in nature, we can have through the creation of our own mind. And today, being scientifically the weaker race, you shall treat others only as they treat you. But in your homes and everywhere possible, you must teach the higher development of science to your children. And make sure that we have a race of scientists par excellence. For in religion and science lies our only hope to withstand the evil designs of modern materialism.
Are you ready?
Never forget
Are
your
you
God.
ready?
Remember that we live, work, and pray for a binding racial hierarchy, whose only natural, spiritual, and political limits shall be God and Africa at home and abroad. With God's dearest blessings, I leave you for a while. One love. Sisters, Marcus, Mosiah, Harvey.
What can I say? What can I say? Are you ready? Are you ready? You did hear what him say? You did hear what him say? Understand this, or understand this. Take this in your heart. The blueprint has already been there for so long. Why are you not following it? Other nations have, and they are thriving right now. They are living the dream of what the Africans should be living right now. The world quakes. The world is in pieces, but they are thriving right now. Why aren't you? Why are you not thriving right now? Because you're too hard to hear, isn't it? You're too hard of hearing. You're too hard of hearing. I will play back piece if you want piece of it. No. I'll play back piece of it if you want piece of it. To break it down for you. Because some of you just say, yeah, I hear that, but we never listen to it properly. We never listen to it properly. GalaxyForWe.net, yeah. Blacknificent Show. Ancestral Voices. Marcus Messiah Garvey.
God that's raised Dada is the conqueror. He can never conquer. He can never conquer. Dada is the conquering Lion of Judah. He has break the chain and set the dreadlocks free. Free again and again. Jaja is a mighty man. Jaja is a rock and tough. Every day, Jaja, I want to be. Every Jaja, Jaja is a mighty man. Jaja is the conqueror. Who can conquer Jah? Praise God the children. Praise God the children. Come, let's praise Jah. He is conqueror. He is the King of kings. Jah, Jah. Dada in rock banda, Dada in rock banda. He is the name of His name is wicked and dreadful. I guess he is. Dada is a mighty man. Dada is a rock banda. Dada is a mighty man. Praise Dada children. Praise Dada rockstar man. Praise Dada, yeah. Praise Dada, oh, oh, wow, 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 wow. Dada,
Once you up out there and tell ya, food is the biggest weapon, no so many times youngsters. Talk to me yesterday.
Yes. Bojo, I tell you, too. Bojo, I tell you.
They can't sit there.
Right. Oh, There's a time. Not yet, though. We'll play you later on, yeah? Greetings, my sister. Welcome.
Greetings, brother.
Aston.
I'm getting an echo.
Are you getting an echo?
Yeah.
Uh-oh. There's two mics open somewhere then.
That's why I paused.
Hold on.
It might be okay now.
Let me see what I've got in. I've got two channels open. No.
It may be okay. It just sounded as if I was echoing.
Okay then. All right. Let me just call this one up. Yeah, this one. All right. Greetings.
Sandra.
Beautiful. And your friend them too.
Thursday morning.
Thursday morning. Boy, I tell you something, you know. I don't even see Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday anymore. It just comes on me.
But the reason why we would encourage our listeners to A, have an affirmation, but B,
strengthen ourselves.
Conscious, whether you do a meditation, just so you can plan what you're doing. Because a while ago, I was thinking to myself, I used to hate it when you used to go to school and you used to have a day book and you knew what you're doing at every single, right down to the assembly, to the lunch, to the whatever, the whatever, the whatever.
Mm,
And as adults, we do it sort of if we're in the job,
mm,
because we
mm,
know we've got to be there at a time called X and we're leaving at a time called Y, and in between that, there's going to be lunch.
mm,
But we should take control of our
mm,
life
mm.
and have
Document it.
an idea, yeah,
Mm, mm, mm.
what we're doing, why we're doing, so we can start to um, look
Let me
back and
show,
appreciate,
let me show you
but
though.
also plan forward.
I have my book of thoughts here. When I get some
Uh,
ideas, when I have my ideas, I just write them down, you know?
and
Uh,
that's what I've got mine behind me in
there
the
you
room behind me,
go. You see?
and it's just something I am starting to appreciate more,
Mm, mm,
and not
mm,
recognizing in the past the beauty and the value, because it was a chore.
mm.
But it was a chore with the best intentions, that sometimes when we turn big people, we think there are things we can fling away because we don't need it. What's the point? What's the point of a day book?
So this let me tell you something now. It looked like life used to go so slow when you was young. You had
Mm-hmm,
forever. The summers used
mm-hmm,
to last forever, you know,
mm-hmm,
and 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 like they would never end. Right
mm-hmm.
now, why? As you quint,
Yes.
hey, every day, the day is over. The day is
Mm-hmm,
over.
mm-hmm,
You know, because even for me, I'm running around like a mad person in the morning, trying to get my chores in,
mm-hmm,
get my daily duties in. You know,
mm-hmm,
madness, the madness.
mm-hmm,
Yeah, but
mm-hmm.
then why you just have to just take advantage and make the most of every moment that there
Yep,
is. Right?
yep, yep.
Apparently, we only live what 70, possibly 80 years or something like that.
Well,
Apparently,
they always talk about 3 score years and 10, so that's
yeah,
60 plus 10, which is 70. So if you go over, you're blessed. And if
yeah.
you're under, that's what it was meant to be.
I think that's a European concept, anyhow, but still, because you know we do overtime.
We do. And a lot of it is due to, and I know that you have brothers
Mm,
on Galaxy that do talk about, from a health point of view,
mm,
how we live, our genetics,
mm.
but
Very
what
important.
we're doing,
Mm,
unfortunately, as the generations move on, and
mm,
I'm appreciating it over here, is
mm,
that we're going into that fast food mentality
mm,
and that processed food mentality,
mm,
or I want it now, so I'm going to eat the grapes now, even though we're
mm,
not in the season,
mm.
the natural season to eat
Exactly.
the fruits and the vegetables.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. There's a time when we need to fast away from certain foods, you know,
Mm, mm,
right?
mm,
Um, unfortunately to say though, but we you know because of where our original stance and bodies are from the Africas,
mm,
so some of us are not familiar with the what's I'm trying to think of the name what they call it now, the growing process and the timing,
mm,
right? Agricultural calendar,
mm,
right,
mm,
of the Africas. So we're not familiar with the foods that are available at that time.
mm,
And plus, we are subjected to year-round foods over here as well,
mm,
right? Even the fake African Asian foods
mm,
that
mm,
we get over here,
mm,
because you know you'll get them and they're like they're just they're turning within days of you actually purchasing them.
mm,
Huh? And you think,
mm.
Well, like for instance, like green banana, right? Green banana not supposed to ripe out, so within 3 4 days,
mm,
start ripe out,
mm,
you know.
mm,
But it does, you know.
mm,
But then again, that is to show that it's not the original green banana, right? You
mm,
get it,
mm,
yeah.
mm,
Mainly because they stay for quite a while in that green state when you chop it down from the tree. That's so, yeah,
well, mm, mm.
right.
Well,
But
and, you know,
go ahead.
here, because I went to Bath Fountain yesterday, and
Oh,
on the
hold on, hold on.
journey,
Just saying, right? Just saying.
just
Did
saying,
you
just
know
throwing it into the
did you hear
conversation.
that, family? She just threw that in. I just went to Bath. Anyhow, go on.
But on the journey there, we saw, or the driver was talking about someone tending the fields.
Mm,
So they leave from Portland, Port Antonio, um, and go all the way over to St. Thomas, which isn't, it's not neighboring boroughs, the
mm,
equivalent of neighboring boroughs. But in order for them to get that land, um, part of the requirement is irrigation. But if they've got the irrigation down to pat and they've got the land, then they get the support from the government. But the support means they will give you the plants, they will give you the fertilizer, and they
mm.
will give you um, a little bit of monetary
Mm,
support so you can get your other bits and pieces.
yeah.
So two out of the three, I think, yeah, not too bad. The
Mm,
monetary support and the plants. But I still say that with caution because fertilizers there,
mm,
which they encourage, and for the wrong or right reasons, we've got different kinds of pests, but that's another conversation. But then also some of the plants that they then give you may be plants that have been grafted
mhm, mhm,
in order to improve or increase the yield. And I know they do it in the UK, they do it in the Americas, they do it in the Canada and stuff like that. So sometimes when we think to ourselves that 3 score years and 10, yes, a European concept. If we're thinking about the Africans, we're thinking about it's closer to the 100.
mhm.
And back in the day, we were living over 100 and thinking nothing of it.
Exactly. Especially that end of the island.
Yeah, but we don't have that opportunity now because of some of it may be just our lifestyle, some of it may be our genetics, some of it may be we're just going through a new lunar calendar, and
Mm,
that's what it is at this moment in time. But from a food point of view, I'm just mindful of what I'm eating and how I'm eating and what's been sprayed or not sprayed on
Do you
the various plants to
do
speed
you
up the
find that
process.
it's easier to find some natural foods out there than what you would find like readily available natural foods, or is
So
everything?
a lot of
Or
the foods, a number of the foods will be sprayed. So I know you spoke about the bananas. Just
mm,
literally behind me, there's someone who will harvest the bananas, but they will harvest them green, and they'll be going for the local market. But they then will, and someone I was talking to said that they how they harvest it, they do spray the bananas, so you've
mm,
still got to be mindful over here in
mm,
terms of what you're eating. So if you know the local farmers or local growers,
mm,
then that takes some of the challenges away than if you go to a market,
mm.
any market, and buy from the stall holders there because you don't, to be fair, you don't honestly know.
No,
So I
no,
know in
no.
the UK, what they tend to do with, say, yams, for example, they keep um, spraying them or cutting them, and you think to yourself, if I cut them and I see the color red or it's more red than white and it's a white yam,
Mm,
then it's potentially being picked too early.
Mm.
So it's springing water. Or I know back in the day, Mum would always say, as much as we like green banana,
Mm.
you wouldn't necessarily always want to buy it in the UK because the minute it comes off the fire, it
Mm.
becomes a boomerang
Yeah.
rather than staying soft.
Mm,
Even when the water's cold with the green banana in there and the
yeah, yeah,
water's cold.
yeah. So some of the bananas, like they're petrified already.
Yeah, yeah. Standing to attention, you think to yourself, hang
Mm.
on a minute, I've only just cooked this. Whereas over here, if it's one which I've picked from my backyard
Mm.
or someone else's backyard, it's likely to have been picked at the right time,
Mm. Mm.
and grown without the need for. So if it's long, it's straight, it's this, it's that, it is what it is, rather than using the pesticide to give it that perfect
Mm.
quote
Mm.
unquote yield. So it's a challenge, and it's feeling comfortable then where you're buying your produce from, and feeling comfortable that where they're getting their produce from.
Mm. Mm.
So
Very much so, and very true, right?
mm,
You know what? If we have the opportunity to when we do go traveling, try to source your foods that you can,
mm,
fresh fruits and things like this from natural sources.
mm,
Yeah, and it's
mm,
not necessarily like what's available like in the hotels or anything
mm,
like that. But sometimes it's good to just venture out and visit these shops and
mm.
markets as well. Although
Yeah.
some of them do have the markup price for the whole the what do they call it, organic.
Mm, mm,
You know,
mm,
some of
mm,
but that is just the nature of the beast at this time right now. You
mm,
know,
mm,
everybody's going organic in preference to natural. You
mm, mm.
know.
But and I know I was listening to that conversation recently where someone was saying, oh, they can't, or they were questioning whether or not they shouldn't, or could buy the produce, the food.
Mm.
And the brother just responded to the sister, so if you're sick, you're going to have to pay for the doctor, so you might as well pay for the food
Mm.
without bypassing the doctor,
Mm.
because the food will keep you healthy. So make up your mind at some point
Mm.
to spend the money rather than
Mm.
spend it on the doctor and the medication
Mm.
and the side effects for another set of medication.
True
And the
that.
list goes on.
True that. As they say, your health is your wealth.
Mhm, mhm,
Yeah,
mhm.
definitely. And yeah, how are you, my dear? Because I know you was battling the cold and all them things there for quite a while.
Well, I've got a confession. I'm feeling on top of the world, but there's a
Oh,
lot of people around me that I can hear them doing exactly and sounding exactly the
the
same. And I'm
snuffle
thinking,
shuffle. The snuffle shuffle.
yes, yes, yes. I'm just thinking, have I passed on something to
Oh,
those
you
around
don't want
me?
to contaminate the place there, so.
Um, um, but I know with some of the elders, because there were elders yesterday that would take popping pills, and I think it was because they weren't feeling 100%. And I'm thinking to myself, you guys know what you're doing. So when I
Mm.
see them later, I'm going to just check in on them and just clarify, because one of them gave me the tree of life and
Mm.
said that I should chew it. So I didn't necessarily chew it, but I did boil it and then
Mm.
chew it a number of times. And she was also talking about garlic. So they do know.
Mm.
And some of the youngers who were sniffling, so they've got a cold in the back of it, they've got a sore throat.
Okay.
So I bypassed the sore throat on this occasion and just went straight for the gunk in my system that needed to come out.
Yeah.
And I worked with it and got it out of my system. But I remember having a sore throat and doing nothing with it.
Mm.
But one of the things is, and I've not actually heard this, and it'd be interesting whether or not you'd heard it. Gargling with lemon and salt.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've never heard of
Mm.
that concept. I understand the principle of both
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
in isolation, but I wouldn't necessarily do the two together. But
Mm.
yeah, we'd bought some lemons a dozen for $150, which was really good money, to be fair. And someone said that they were going to mix her up a concoction so she could gargle her throat. So yeah, I've done it with salt on its own and put lemon in the water, but not mix the two together. But yeah, both of them are antioxidants. So
But you know something. I think that there's a lot of us what hold on to these terms like antioxidants and bacterial and all this type of thing. There, remember, right, that our body is a complicated machinery in that way. It needs all of those things to actually fight off diseases, right? So if you're breaking down and you say, right, I'm gonna have this because it breaks down the antioxidants, that just leaves a space for something to actually flourish in there, right? You can't be eliminating yourself unless you're obviously getting emasticated. Like for instance, you know, like when you see the maga people, and then they might eat, but them just maga. It just seems like something is overacting in their body. You understand? So therefore, for them to get some kind of sustenance, they need to balance themselves out. Yeah? So that I mean that's one extreme. You understand? And obviously you got the other extreme, the obese people who eat the same amount, but they just seem to just hold on to everything. And that's the other extreme as well, right? But you know, when you're talking about things like that, like your gut health and things like this, you know, it's good to let it have a rest for a while, right? Hence the fasting, yeah, right. But there's no need to force cleanse unless there's something definitely wrong within your intestines or gut area. You understand? Yeah. Like for instance, I know some of us have the bloating. Bloating usually indicate there's a blockage sometimes. Yeah, indicates a blockage. So you might need some, like, you know, what they call it now, the body wash thing. What was it they call it again? When they put the water up there, sir.
Oh yeah, the colon, not colon.
That's right.
Blood. Yeah.
Yeah, I call it body wash, but anyhow, right? But when you do that, you know, sometimes you might need that. You understand, right? But it's not like, oh, it's a regular thing you should do or whatever, right? Because obviously you have to replace those bacterials within your system. I mean, they will regenerate in their time, but it's at that time you could be vulnerable to infections as well. Yeah, so that's why they give you those probiotics. Yeah,
yes,
I know them things there.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Anyway, this strong. Oh, what? Sorry. What subject would you like to bring to us this strong?
No, I was just about to ask you because I wasn't able to join before the midday meditation, so I'm not sure what you were bringing.
I am talking in more strength into the reparations process. Right now. Part of the reparations process, I think we was discussing it yesterday offline anyhow, was the self. Well, the initial thing I think that we should look at is for ourselves, right? And when I say self, identifying who we are, right? Self-identity. Now, I know that many of us have family that is estranged. You know, it's not everybody know all of their cousin. Not everybody know all of their family around them, right? Not all of them even appreciate how many uncles and aunts that they have. So in saying that now, this is what I'm suggesting is that we have a look into our family, write them down into a form of a grid like the family tree, you know? mainly because it will give us an indication of where we stand in the timeline of our families. And then when we've completed that, right, we could probably even display it. We probably could even display it in our homes, you know, or even like just have photos of those who are in our family, right, so that we can see who we are part of, enhancing the fact that the position that we hold is not only in some cases the mature ones, right, but we are also those who are the younger ones are looking to, and they're looking up to as well. Yeah, because families expand, and some of us don't even realize that all of a sudden you have a second cousin and second niece and all them things there. Why? Because you missed the birth of this one and that one. You understand? Yeah. But it is a nice picture, I feel, to have of where you stand in your family timeline, which is very, very important. Very, very important.
Yeah. And I know we were talking offline and yesterday,
Mm,
when we're talking about family and something that I'll be bringing to the wider family in
mm,
terms of legacy and what we want to leave behind. Because if we're
mm,
looking at where we are on that family tree, then the
mm.
question is, why are we here? And whilst we're here, what's our purpose?
Yeah.
But then what are we leaving for the next generation? And
Mhm,
we're not, doesn't have to be a monetary, it can be knowledge, it can be wisdom, it can be a physical building and or space that
mhm,
can be used for something else so we can continue the conversations on a
mhm,
wider context. And when I
mhm,
say that, we are looking at, and I'll use the word Miriam's Haven, because they're looking to set up a
yes,
space
yes.
for children, for young
Mm,
children, initially as an after school club, but also as a holiday um, space activity where the children can literally get together.
mhm,
They can work together from a homework point of view collectively, mastermind the
mm,
challenges that they've got so they can eliminate and not think I'm the only person here who didn't understand what the teacher was saying. But they
mm,
can also then um, work together collectively in terms of, okay, um, as I build me, I build you.
mhm,
And it
mhm.
becomes that you born to philosophy.
Yes, yes, definitely, definitely. So you feel say that she would adopt the galaxy emblem in there, Ubuntu.
Yes, most definitely. Most definitely. And
Yeah.
what we'll do in relation to that, rather than just print it out, because I can print it out and that's easy, I'm
Mm,
going to encourage the children to write it out.
that's
So
right.
it helps them to do it by way of um, A, their creative juices,
Mhm,
B, their language and their written skills, and
mhm,
C, once it's done, they can see it put up on the wall
mhm.
so they can sign it. The
Yeah.
next person can sign it. So that means they can see that, yeah, this is something that we're not only just saying, but it's
Mhm.
something that we can
You're living
live,
into.
that we can live.
Mhm. We you know what I'm gonna ask you, right? Or you can
Mhm.
possibly preempt what I'm gonna ask you. Could we get an interview with the person who's working there, and some of the children as well,
All right,
right?
we can,
That's,
yeah, yeah.
that's right. And we'll introduce that to the Galaxy family.
Hmm.
and then see what we can do in assistance if
Yeah.
it's required.
Yeah. 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 I know that they've already sent things over and they're looking to send things over. And when we think about what's required, because in the UK, I've worked in different departments in the civil service, and the departments have closed down. And you look around at the books that are going into the thing called TIP. You're looking at the pens and the post-it notes and the paper and you think to yourself, at the time I was thinking to myself, I just needed a car. I just needed something just to take it all away, to know exactly when they're going to bag it and tag it and stuff to take it away. And I did take some away. I've been in other departments where we've moved from one floor to another floor, and we've had a whole floor and we've had to move into a corner. So they say you can't take everything with you. And schools that have closed down, banks that have closed down, and there's the stationary supplies which have all gone to the, like I said, that tip in the sky called rubbish.
I recall watching a video recently about there was a young brother, and what he was doing, he was making books. So he had the loose leaves, but he was stitching the books together, stitching the leaves together. Leaves. Yeah, it's leaves of paper, isn't it? Yeah, we're stitching them together and making like exercise books, you know, which he was distributing to the children there, you know, and even simple things like exercise books, you know. It is important. It is important that we actually look to see what we can do, right? Can you imagine now you go and get like a packet of books, like it could be just like the exercise books, right? So you say like, all right, then £10. Let me just go and spend £10 on something like that. That's like pens, books, or the basics. What's required for our young children, right? And then you do that on a weekly basis. You pay for an extra suitcase when you come visiting, right? So you got all the stuff in a one case. You're guaranteed that by the time you come back, you could fill that case back up again with the things that will fill that case anyway, right? But what you're supplying there could serve at least 10 children, right, for the whole term. You understand? And it's not like you're just giving it to giving it. You're giving it for a purpose, you know, because it aids in their learning. You know, I know that we have other projects because you know that you have the school in the Gambia as well, and it's a similar thing as well. You know, as you go there, we sponsored our children, which costs I think it's about £70, £70 or £80 per term now, right? So even though it may seem possible from here that's simple, like from the UK, but you know, on the ground over there, that's a big expenditure. Very big expenditure, you know. So you know, in any way and whatever way we can help, we will do that. So as time goes on, we'll do that. Remind us of the name again, please.
It's Miriam's Haven.
Miriam's Haven. You can text that to me because I don't want to get the spelling wrong on that one. Right.
And I'm literally gonna be leaving from here now and going up to Moortown. So we'll be meeting together just to have that discussion, because we're doing a fun day, because Monday's Independence. So we're just going to do a fun day in the community, bouncy castle, and other activities, games that the children can play, and win prizes, but also buy the jerk chicken and candy floss.
Everything.
Yeah.
Jerk chicken and candy floss.
Yeah. Anything called chicken in this town will sell.
I'll tell you what, it's them type of time when chicken get nervous, you know.
Well, in this town, they yes.
You,
No,
you just
got
gotta be
this bit of money.
unlucky to be born in Jamaica, right there.
Mm,
Yeah, I do a chicken. Unlucky, buddy. Yeah, you just gotta be unlucky to be born in Jamaica, boy. I tell you, sorry for you. Sorry for you. Yeah. Anyhow, so that's like two projects there, that we're looking at there now. Potentially a sponsorship program to come for that as well, isn't it? We'll see how that develops over the period of time. Yeah. Yes. Right. So what else? So how was it up in Spa, innit? Up by the mountain?
So you can see that the water it's not as bright as it was, and because I've been there about 4 weeks ago, they recognized me. So they didn't, when we came out of the bus, they didn't swarm like they did the last time because I'd already had the harsh conversations.
Oh, you're frightening them way.
You have to come out of the bus and breathe.
Yeah.
So we can then work out what we want to do, because some people will want to get the massage, use the pimento oil, use the clay. So some people will want that. We were with children, so the children wouldn't necessarily have wanted that, even though there's elements of it that they did want. But they did give us the time to breathe, and we enjoyed ourselves. Those of us that went. The walk up there is still a bit
precarious, isn't it?
Treacherous is the wrong word because that makes it seem severe. But you just need to be conscious and be careful underfoot.
Yeah.
They've not put up railings, and you think to yourself, you guys have got a little haven here.
Still.
If they don't look after it, CDC is going to come over and take it over. And when they take it over, there's going to be someone at the front gate that's going to say, you cannot pass here unless. So if you want to maintain your space, and we were having that conversation, and we've had that conversation in the past in terms of the beaches, you want to maintain the beaches that are free for all. Someone needs to take responsibility to clean it. Someone needs to take responsibility to maintain it.
Well, boy, listen, when I visited years ago, that was the same conversation, and they went,
Yeah.
So it's the same way again.
Yeah. Things haven't changed. The road's getting better though.
Huh?
The roads is getting better. They're fixing the roads.
They should do, because that's their main. That's one of their main attractions around there, isn't it?
The road to take you up there is perfect. The roads on and off from Portland to St. Thomas to Bar Fountain, or St. Thomas because we went further in, is again, bits of it are really good. They're still working on other elements. Is it logical? The bits that are good, it's not as if to say there's a good bit and then there's a bad bit and there is no more. It'd be patches of good bit, bad bit, good bit, bad bit.
So you don't touch on Milk River at all then?
I didn't go down that far.
Didn't
go down that far. But yeah. So it was an interesting day, and then we went on to, because there's a lady, a sister, who's in the UK, who's Sophie's Choice or Sophie's House. So she's got access to. So her parents or grandparent had built a church. They're no longer using it as a church. but did the grandma? Yeah, I think she said the grandmother had built the church or was a member or the founder of the church. They no longer use it as a church. They use it as a space for the children.
Mm-hmm.
So every evening after school up until 6 o'clock, school tends to finish around 3 in most areas of Jamaica. So from 3 till 6 every evening, they've got homework, but they've also got other activities. And
Okay.
then on a Saturday, they do something there on a Saturday. They do something there on a Sunday.
Mm.
Only half day. And then during the holiday, they do something throughout the whole of the holiday.
Okay. Okay.
They take children from babe in arms right the way up to 18, so their age range is large. They've only got 2 helpers.
Mm.
It's a lot, but it's a registered charity in Jamaica. It's a registered charity in the UK, and she does fundraising and stuff like that in the UK in order to promote what she's doing and to help fund what she's doing. And again, when I went in there and I looked at the books on maths, on science, and etc., it's only a small range of books in relation
Yeah.
to the bookshelf. And again, I was thinking about the books that in the UK we
Yeah.
just
What do we have? Yeah. What do we
yeah
have?
we just dismiss, we throw away.
Well, the thing is that now a lot of things are going online. You see, so the book element there, right? I think it's not being phased out, but it's not as popular as what the online business are going with. You know,
Mm.
you see.
With the online, you've got in the UK, Americas, whatever. One of the things that we looked at, and they played a video in terms of being online and being safe.
Mm.
So we recognise that a lot of the children do have the mobile phones and or tablets and stuff like that, but not all children have it. B, you need to
Yes.
have the electricity, and C, you need to have the data, and they don't all have both in equal abundance. So one of the things I liked about that school that has already been set up over the last 6 years, and what we're proposing is it's not going to be dependent on the internet and having the electricity. We want to encourage the children to think back to source,
Yeah.
get in connection with turning a page, reading a book, reading a story. Once you've cracked all of that, then all other things become possible and practical. But before you can crack all that, let's not take them down that road of computer games whereby they move into that space, but they don't use their own creativity. They don't build their own mental toughness outside of the computer screen.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And they learn to converse and play with water, play with sound, understand those elements.
Exactly. Exactly. Let's make science fun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
most definitely.
Yeah.
Let's make play fun.
Mm.
And it's not play, like I said, on a computer screen, because they can do that when they get home or not, depending on who they are, where they live, etc., and what access they have. But when they're with other children, we want to encourage that element of fun. So when they're at school, it may be seen as a chore, but let's enjoy either school and all the activities outside of school. So yeah, I'll be arranging interviews to have conversations with.
Okay. Great. So look forward to that. I look forward to that over the next few strongs. Yeah. Awesome. While you're there,
Yep. Yep.
while you're in good health, huh? And you're not so busy with the rest of your itinerary of what you're doing, saving the world.
Well, the other itinerary is still working there in the background or in the foreground or the side ground. So it's just making, and it goes back to our first conversation in terms of time. And what time do we have and how do we make the best use of time? So if working a 9 to 5, you pack it in with someone else's agenda. But why can't you create your own 9 to 5 and pack it in with your own agenda? And that's what I'm aiming to do. Pack mine in with my own agenda.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
supporting.
Just plan it out and just go for it. Yeah.
Mm.
But then again, you're doing that every month anyway. So
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Oh yes. So, yeah, by the way, let's remind them of your 30-day challenge as well.
So that's a 30-day journey
Mhm.
that take brothers, sisters through, whereby they can get in connection with themselves, A, from a forgiveness point of view, B, from a providing some healthy daily disciplines,
Mhm.
and C, helps them to appreciate and understand what do they want, what do you really, really want,
Mhm.
what are you putting in place in order to make it happen, how are you working towards it, are you paying attention when you're being given the miracles?
Mhm.
Life shares a miracle with you. Because if you keep ignoring it, life's going to say, well, you don't really care. You don't really want this. So let me keep moving to someone who does want or does appreciate. So, yeah, it's
Well
just,
done. Well done. Well done. Well done. Well done. I'll put up your website there, Sandra at Mind Soul Support. If you're interested in joining there, is it too late to join for this month?
so it'd be too late to join this month, but let's have a conversation in terms of next month.
Next month, right? So it starts at the beginning of the month.
Yeah.
Yeah, starts
Yeah.
at the beginning of the month. Is it specifically like on the first Sunday, or is it just the beginning of the month?
It's going to be the first beginning of the month.
Yeah. Okay then. All right then.
The
Right.
first,
So
the
this
first day,
30-day
first day of
challenge,
the month. Yeah, but
30-day
30 days
challenge,
journey.
30-day journey.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. And very, 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 very effective and helpful, right, for all those who need that kickstart on balance in their life as well. And it is a very good journey. It's a very good journey. So for those who feel that you just need a little bit of a boost, right, or guidance or clearance of things that are probably holding you back, that will be a fantastic little course that you can look into, right? Is that the correct
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
Sandra at mindsoulsupport.com?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or you can send me an email at
Mm.
sandra@mindsoulsupport.com. So just leaving off the www, and
Mhm.
you can send an email directly.
Mhm. 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 Okay then. Okay then. Great stuff. Great stuff. So we got that. We got that there. So you can get contact with our sister Sandra, and then she'll sort you out. She'll sort you out with all the information, right?
Yeah.
All the way in Jamaica. Look at it. Look at that. You see, an international teacher as well. Look at where you going with, my girl.
I'm just giving thanks and
Yeah.
appreciating the fact that I'm able to do this
Mm,
from where I am
mm,
and maintain those connections, because it doesn't matter. We don't. I as much as I want to look in the whites of your eyes, I
mm,
don't have
mm.
to be doing it 3 feet away. You
Yeah,
can be
yeah.
doing it using technology and making the technology work for us, because there's lots happening out there. There's lots of opportunities out there. And a number of us will have read the books, looked at the videos, but we haven't changed. So the question I'd ask you is why? What's stopping you? What's holding you back? And the journey, 30-day
Mm,
journey, gives you an opportunity of looking into yourself and
mm, mm.
helping, allowing you to move forward
Yep,
with purpose.
definitely. Definitely needed in some cases here, getting some stagnation, you know, with many of our lives. Even if we're just in the thought process and just stuck in the thought process to get it moving, man. And don't get me wrong, I needed it as well. Although I probably didn't recognize it at the time. I needed it as well, and it was very, very beneficial. Very beneficial. Almost fulfilled most of the task on there right now on my little list. Or I'm in the process of completing it now. So there you go. There you go. All right. Anyway. Nice. Right. How long we got now? We've got about another half an hour, is that right? Yeah,
Yeah.
probably.
Yep.
Probably another
Yep.
half an hour. Right. Is there anything else you would like to share with us? What's your song for this week? Oh, your mantra. We're not at the karaoke now.
So the one that I will often go back to, I'm wealthy by nature. I'm
Well,
living on purpose, and I am on schedule.
well done.
So sometimes and I know I fall into that habit. You look at something and then you automatically disregard as to why you can buy it. You give yourself 101 reasons as to why you can't buy it. You may or may not be in a position where you don't open your bills. You may or may not be just thinking to yourself from a food point of view, oh, I can't afford it. You start with that I can't mentality when we are all wealthy by nature. And are we stopping the flow? And the 30-day journey encourages you to unblock the flow, but we can have those conversations that will help you to unblock that flow, so you can start to appreciate what you have around you, and live in the abundance, because that's how we're all creative, compassionate, spiritual beings existing in this physical form. We're all infinitely valuable, exquisitely unique, and perfect in our personhood.
We have been blessed. Right? That once we learn how to balance ourselves, it definitely is an enjoyment of life, right? Hence the Blacknificent show, right? And this is what we're emphasizing on, the journey that it takes to be into that place of balance for ourselves. You know, one of the things that I've also taken on, right? Obviously, you know, as much as you receive, you give. Yeah. So even in the sense of that, I've doing this course for the counseling, right? And experience. Let me share an experience that I've had recently. Right? Levels of conversation that I've had, right? And how impactful that they have been, and going through some of my voicemails that I hadn't picked up for a very long time, and looking at some messages that I hadn't responded to for a very long time, right? I'm talking like messages probably from about like 6 months ago and things like this, emails and things, you know. And surprisingly, how I have been impacting the lives of so many people that I know, right? Where they've reached out to me and just to say a message of, like, you know, thank you for doing this at a certain time, and for them, and you know, or being there and being able to speak with them and things like that. And I thought, wow, it just kind of like says to me that living on purpose, right, has been within my nature for a very long time.
Mm.
And in learning this skill, or I won't say learning because I knew of the skills previously. It's just enhancing them right now,
Mm.
or bettering the skills, right? It's kind of like just gives me a boost to say, I mean, I'm doing the right thing.
Mm.
Sometimes you can think, oh, is anybody going to be really interested in this? And I know that, that our black community has that stigma of like reaching out to get some help, right? Because they see it as a sickness that they're going through. If they have to go, if they had to have a like counseling or even seek counseling, right?
Mm.
Or guidance. And one of
Mm.
the things that I always remember is that for every champion that is out there, there's always a coach.
Yes.
There's always a coach,
Yeah.
right? And it's not necessarily that the coach can actually do what the champion is doing, the
Mm-hmm.
athlete, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
right? And in anything and everything, you have to be taught to be a skilled person. Like I know when I was doing my apprenticeship, I had skilled craftsmen around me. Yeah,
Mm.
they would show me different techniques of how to work certain materials, right? Combine different elements to make different things. You know, even in the way how I would actually work and say this is how you can work safely. This is more efficient.
Mm.
You know,
Mm.
and all those little things there is not it's not something you go, oh, I just know how to do it.
Mm.
That's not the case. That's not the
Mm.
case at all. You
Mm.
have to be sometimes you have to be guided through to ensure that you know how to do something properly,
Mm.
right?
Mm.
Obviously, it's something that I learned the other day. And what happened also the other day, there was a person who was lives near to where I'm there now, and he was working on his vehicle. And for the past for 3 days, I saw him working on his vehicle. And I just happened to well, I was walking by, and I said, "I goes, what is it you actually doing on your vehicle?" And he goes, well, I'm struggling with this fan belt. And I go, oh, right. I go, and he knew that I did a bit of mechanics before. And I said, yeah. I said, oh, no problem. So before I know it, I'm in the car doing doing the fan belt with him. But he only took me 2 minutes to do that. And he said, I was struggling for 2 days doing that, and you just come along in 2 minutes.
Mm.
And I said, well, it's only because I know certain techniques of how to do things that. And then I thought, wow, wow. It just goes to show that the skills that somebody has can be passed on to somebody
Mm.
if you just show them the way how to do it, you
Mm.
know.
Mm.
And then it's one of those things of that never underestimate your value.
Mm.
Never underestimate your value. you
Mm.
know so
Mm.
that's my little rant for today. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Mm, mm,
that wasn't a rant, and I'd agree. We not to estimate our
underestimate.
value,
Mm,
not to underestimate our value,
mm,
um, and to appreciate and understand that we're all here for a purpose,
mm,
and your
mm,
purpose at that time was just passing and
mm.
helping and supporting that man at
Yeah.
that time was the right thing for you to do,
Mm, mm, mm,
and being able to recognize it and just do it.
mm, 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 mm. Yeah, let's say I can do it, but it's not a case of that I want to do it, right? For those listeners out there as well. So next minute they're gonna call me up, yeah, this problem with me. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know that things there, yeah.
Not
So,
about the car thing.
huh?
It's not about the car,
Yeah,
but it's just being able to help and support
that's,
in
that's
other
right.
ways.
That's right. And I think that, you know, as you say, we don't underestimate our value in that way there,
Mm,
you know,
mm,
in any
mm,
way or
mm,
whatever way. Yeah.
mm,
Okay. Right then. I'm gonna right. No. It's only 2 o'clock. It's only 2 o'clock.
mhm,
Oh, we've got one more
mhm,
hour. We've got one more hour. All
mm.
right. So what you want to talk about now? What you want to talk about now?
So you mentioned reparations,
Hmm.
and that's where you started your conversation. I heard, like I said, I apologize I didn't join you before the midday meditation.
Mm-hmm.
But do you have anything to share with the listeners in terms of that discussion? Let's
Yeah,
just
yeah, 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 yeah. I mean, like as I say, part of the reparations thing there. What I'm just doing like doing pieces,
mm,
right?
mm,
So first one is obviously not knowing thyself, appreciation of where we are, or where
mm,
you are
mm,
in relations to like your value in your family.
mm,
Yeah. Marcus Garvey mentioned in that speech there as well, right? About he mentioned well about 6 different points on there, right? Some of them were like setting up your own business,
mm,
yeah.
mm,
And another thing that I feel that we should really take on, and especially like this month here, in the month of Mosiah, right?
mm,
Is shop black.
mm,
Wherever we're shopping, let's go to a black owned business,
mm,
you know,
mm,
for the entire month. Just do your entire shopping. You don't, even if you say you go to a supermarket because it's convenient or whatever, let's inconvenience ourselves this month. Yeah, and go to those different places where there are black businesses.
mm,
Yeah, let's put our for even just for the whole of this 1 month,
mm,
right? And
mm,
see how it would impact on their businesses for a start, right?
mm,
And how it would feel. How does it feel for you as
mm,
well,
mm,
right? So if you're
mm,
planning an evening out, go to a black-owned business.
mm,
You know what I mean? Go to like if it's a restaurant or cinema or something like that.
mm,
Go to a
mm,
black owned business, right?
mm,
Or go to see a film made by a black person,
mm,
right? Black
mm,
director,
mm,
uh, the- uh, or the full enchilada,
mm,
right?
mm,
And then see how that impacts upon you, right?
mm,
Or maybe get dust off the old video recorder and plug that in and watch some of those old tapes that you got. Dust covering dust, mum and dad.
mm, 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 mm,
You know, right? Also, what I would recommend as well. Again, dust off the old bookshelf, right? And do 30 minutes reading, right, from a book,
mm,
right?
mm, mm,
Only 30 minutes. Just open it up randomly, or if you pick out a chapter that you feel that you want to read, and then the next day pick up another book, a different book,
mm,
yeah, and do 30 minutes reading from that, and the
mm,
following day, yeah.
mm,
But obviously, as you read and you learn, you share,
mm,
yeah. So
mm,
I would recommend doing that as well. So there's many things that you can do for this challenge. Yeah, and also because it's Messiah month, of course, there's going to be many events around. Attend one, attend one or two events.
mm.
Yeah, because that would also be very good for you. You
Yeah,
know, to get
yeah.
out, because I did come across a few people who was at the reparations gathering, the grounding, right? and they were indicating, "Oh, I don't go out much now. Oh, I don't really get out the home that often."
Mm.
I'm thinking, wow, but there's plenty of things to actually go and do, you
Mm.
know. And
Mm.
then there, one I was speaking to, and she was indicating that, oh, she become a very home person now, you know. And I'm thinking to myself, wow, are you really just going to just sit around and wait for God? Right? You know that expression.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Because to me, there's so much going on. There's so much going on, right? Even to say, let me go and just sit with my people for a while,
Mm. Mm.
you know,
Mm.
and even the benefit of that, you know,
Mm.
you would benefit from just doing that alone.
Mm. Mm.
So I would encourage you all to go to a few of the events that are on right now, right? Obviously, there are some events that are online as well, right? Along with us as well, because I'm trying to do all my programs so that they are online. So if you're listening to this, you can also come and join us on the Facebook, right? At the galaxyfwe.net, right? Also the Blacknificent Radio Show. You come on the YouTube and the Facebook as well for that as well. And I'm trying to do all the morning programs through there. So the Grand Rising programs I'm gonna be doing through the galaxyforwe.net Facebook. So go on to there, and you can friends or join
Mm.
that group, yeah,
Mm.
or
So
put a
at least
request.
when they join, they get a notification of every
Right.
time you're.
You get notifications of all the programs and on there. Um, I'm getting the other presenters to actually use that forum as well.
Mm.
Okay, so that you'll get an indication of their programs as well when it's on, and you can
Mm.
just click on the link and then boom, you're straight in that way there, right? Rather than have it as a guesting of when things are gonna come. So or the phone will tell you when it's gonna come. Yeah. Or when we're due. Anyhow. Right? So that's what I'm working on right now. And I've got to finish up my assignments as well. So we've got to do a few interviews. All right.
So you're still looking for
Yes. Participants. I'm still looking for participants. So if you're interested in being uh, uh, case study, case study. Basically, you will experience what having a counseling session is. If you wish to participate in some enhanced sessions, right? We can do some of those as well. So you could, and they're free at this particular time. So if you wish to do that, you can come and join. You can um, message me. You can message me on 079 yeah, 200 right? So it's 079 Okay, so you can do that
mm,
online. Just text me your name and counseling on there, or message me through the Facebook, and I will get back to you.
mm,
Okay. So yes, I'm still looking for things, and we can do it online as well if you wish to. Yeah, as well. So there you go. There you go. All right.
okay.
All right.
So I know you're saying in terms of supporting a black um, business and you speaking about this month, but one thing that I'd like to just bring to um, just let the family know
Mm,
on Sunday the 3rd of September,
mm-hmm.
12 and 1, exploring, so looking at Black history studies,
Mm.
so exploring the contributions of the African continent to the development of human civilization and uncovering archaeological evidence supporting Africa as the birthplace. You may be thinking to yourself, okay, there's nothing I really want to see this month, there's nothing I really want to do this month, I do want to support. So spend your money this month for an event that's going to be at the beginning of next month.
Mm-hmm.
And
Even that, you know, because like once you start to have it, you know, it will just roll on. Yeah.
Yeah.
And there are so many community events like cinemas, you know, black films and directors, cinemas, events, obviously live music events, spoken word as well, right? Which I'm looking to get into as well, because I'm looking to collaborate with another brother, Forward and Up, right? He does spoken word events, so I'm going to be collaborating with him on that as well. So I'm going to bring him in soon, and then we'll have a segment on there as well. Right? And what else? What else? Obviously, I want to do that health awareness day, right?
Yep.
So that's another thing as well. So, but it's all in the planning. It's in the planning stages and getting everything there, and then hopefully by next month we should have everything set and we should be up and running. Okay.
Yes, love to hear that. Love to hear that.
Fantasimodo. Fantasimodo. Okay. Right. With the center that you're looking at before the children there, right? How many children are actually in attendance with there on a regular basis, would you say?
So over the last week, we were looking at, on average, there was about 25, 30 children.
Wow. That's a whole country school.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Wow.
We were blessed in the fact that there were so many of them that were interested and keen. So recognizing then at the end of the day, we may not, so every day after school, we're not expecting that many. But what we are expecting, I'd say at least a dozen. At the end of each day, anything between a dozen, anything between 12 and 20.
Wow. Do you provide like a lunch and things for them as well?
So when we did last week, there was lunch provided, and it's interesting you talk about lunch, and we were talking about food earlier on. So when we asked as adults, what do you want to eat to the children? The first thing that they said,
Kentucky Fried Chicken.
You said it in one. It's because I wasn't there, because we would have had a conversation in terms of what does it mean and why. And we did need to really and truly have that conversation, because they said it too quickly and they were too keen for the Kentucky. So when they made rice and peas and chicken, that did eat one time, quick time. When they done rice, when they done chicken and dumpling, just as finger food with vegetables, the chicken ate straight away. The dumpling, a lot of them did eat the dumpling, to be fair, the flour dumpling. But when they looked at the vegetables, very few. When they done noodles and other food like pasta and stuff like that, a lot of it was not. More of it wasn't eaten than was eaten.
Okay.
Which is a shame, but it just means then they're not used to eating the vegetables. vegetables.
Yeah, yeah. Well, the thing is that what they need to do, right, is obviously get a regular supply of natural foods,
Mm,
and just make it into, like, if they want to put down yam chips or whatever, yeah,
mm,
cassava or bami or whatever, you know,
mm.
you just have to just make it and incorporate it into their foods there, you know.
Well, one of the things I'm going up there today to speak with, so the colonel, so I'm going to record some and take some details.
Mm,
They're looking to just get the younger generation involved in the things that their elders used to do as a matter of course, and it was passed down from generation to generation. And this is in terms of food. This is in terms of um, cooking, oil,
mm.
um, building a fire without matches,
Okay.
um,
So they
creating,
get some practical skills.
yeah, the practical skills, eating. So that means if they're not at the yard, can
Mm,
they eat? Making use of what the natural foods is around them
and the resources, yeah, natural
and the
resources.
resources that they have to them.
Yeah, just tell them, don't go burn up your grandmother furniture though. Is that real wood, Grand?
It's oak.
Oak.
It's just not ordinary wood. It's oak.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, so I'll go up there and just see what they're doing.
Mm, mm,
In terms of, like I said, that's opening up their eyes, because
mm,
we all have, and I know when we were doing the thing in relation to mobile phones, and the sister was starting to ask questions, and I thought, let me just go back to basics. How many of you actually have a smartphone?
mm.
And in that room, there must have been 15 children in that room, and all of them put up their hands. No one kept their hands down.
Wow.
Everyone's phone can do something other than ring,
Mm-mm, mm-mm.
and it's just
But there
recognizing.
you go. There you go. So where are we thinking? Boy, they must suffer.
Mm.
Yeah. Everybody got their cash app already.
And a lot of it may be phones that have been handed down. I know that you've got your stores such as Digicel and or Flow, which a lot of their um, promotions will include a new phone.
Mm,
So there are a lot of them that adults will get the new phone and then hand down the old phone.
mm.
What it was a statistic I heard the other day, and it's very similar to the numbers of people in Jamaica or outside of Jamaica. Something like how many phones were in
What
Jamaica?
they
It
have.
was like, yeah, millions. And you're thinking,
Mm, mm,
wow,
mm, mm. Look like everybody have phone.
yeah.
But the thing is that they've never had it easy with it. It's always been like the pay as you go and things like that. You know, most of them have to
Mm.
top it up.
But it's just yeah, it's just they do have it, but what we want them to do is to not to use the mobile phone as the only source of communication,
Mm,
and not
mm,
to get lost in that thing called a mobile phone, because they've got sunshine,
mm,
and they have that in abundance, which you guys don't have in abundance in the UK. You've got all the elements. You'll have snow, which
mm.
these children over here will probably love the snow. They
Really?
get the rain, but they don't get the rain in the same way.
They're not
But
real Jamaicans then. If they love the snow, I can tell you that now.
well, and you say that because yesterday when we went to Bath Fountain, There were 2 little boys. There must be there must be 6 or 7 twins. And Bath Fountain known for hot water, sulfuric water straight from the rock. And they enjoy themselves in the cold water, but the hot water, man, oh man, you were about to take them. They ran for the hills. They went in. And even if you added it hot water to the cold water just to make it a little bit warmer, they were not. They cried when their mother said, "Come over here," just because she did put the hot she did put the towel in the water and bring it out.
Sup it on them.
Yeah, and they both of them went to tears. And you think to yourself, she said, "Okay, I'll put down the towel. I'll put down. See nothing in the hands." And that was the only reason that they came back to her, because they'd moved so far out of reach that she couldn't reach them, even if she did swing after them with or without the towel. Just weren't interested in hot water. So, yeah. So they have their own pleasures and pains over here. It's just that they can experience it without the technology, or alongside the technology, rather than technology taking prime purpose or prime direction.
One of the things that we have to understand, it's like with art, right? Like drawing, for instance. I know that they've got it now that you can use a tablet to draw, with all the stuff on there. But the fact is that having that tangible touch, pencil on paper or paint onto a canvas, right? It brings it alive. It brings the process of it alive. And even when we are writing, like on paper, to take notes and things like that, it seems to brings it alive, what you're actually writing down, in preference to the keyboard. And that way there's no real attachment to the documents. We need to be in that moment of liberty. We need to be in that moment of liberty, right? So wherever we can, we should be just writing down. We should be drawing, painting, being that creative state, yeah. And like if our children get to know that they are capable of doing those things, then I feel that later on in their lives it will hold them, instead of saying, you know what, even if my phone run out of battery, I can still adapt and get something done. I can still adapt and get something done. It's crazy. It's crazy.
No, I'd agree with you, because having that opportunity of still being able to get something done.
Yeah.
It being that time of day, them guys look like they've started to work, so there's going to be some background noise.
Okay then.
I'm going to be leaving the family shortly.
Okay then. All right then.
More town.
Well, if you wish to step out now.
Sorry?
If you wish to step out now, is all right still, Okay. We appreciate you. We appreciate you very much, right? Blessed day. Have a blessed day. I know you're gonna go back up to Bart Mountain again, because you find something up there.
Cool spring. I actually did carry some of the water, so I'm going to go and drink some of the water. Water, which is good for the digestive system. Good bacteria.
Pressure bust pipe. All right, then. You take care now. All right, that's our sister Sandra. Okay.
Easy, my brothers. Let's talk about it. Don't you know it takes one hand to wash the other? If you should see your brother falling, lend an helping hand. A spirit of Jah, they not always fight with man. If you should see your brother falling, help him if you can. And it doesn't matter how small, it's never too little to share. No, and what does it take from your pride to show someone that you care? Oh, a friend is a person or someone who is always near. Who can feel your joy and know your pain and know all your troubles you bear. Don't you know it takes one hand to watch the other? If you should see your brother falling, help him if you can. A spirit of Jah, they not always fight with man. If you should see your brother falling, lend an helping hand. Birthdays when the food and the shelter was too sad. No, and my family and friends, they just wrote that day. My belly day, if I should contemplate the alternative, is old shame. So I remain. I have no one to talk to, and to whom shall I complain? How dare another man brought you for your earth again? I'd rather teach someone to fish than give them one. No, there's a little bit of charity shows carry along. Yeah, but don't you know it takes one hand to wash the other? If you should see your brother falling, lend an helping hand. The spirit of Jah, they not always fight with man. If you should see your sister falling, help her if you can. If you should see your brother falling, lend an helping hand. If you should see your sister falling, help her if you can. It doesn't matter how much, it's never too little to share. No, and what does it take from your pride to show someone that you care? Lord, a friend is a person or someone who is always near. Who can share your joy and share your pain? No, the troubles you bear. Don't you know it takes one hand to wash the other? If you should see your brother falling, help him if you can. Spirit of Jah, they not always fight with man. If you should see your brother falling, lend an helping hand. And if you should see your sister falling, help her if you can. And if you should see your brother falling, lend an helping hand. And if you should see your sister falling,
When white men get tired out of it, little water got sport. It was a black man in the name of
Just to remind you.
No, that we are getting our work is being so heavy. We just have to keep us helping all of them. Oh, yes, the cause is grand, the cause is true. Surely we shall not turn back. Oh, sail on, the shepherd say sail on until the flag of the red, the black, and the green is perched upon the hills of the rock, because the time has come for the black man to forget his hero worship of other races and to create and emulate heroes of his own. We must canonize our own saints, create our own masters, and elevate the positions of fame and honor black men and women who have made a distinct contribution to our racial history. Sojourner Truth is worthy of a place of sainthood alongside the Joan of Arc. Christopher Addison, George William Gordon are entitled to the halo of martyrdom with no less glory than the martyrs of any other race. To certain of it, George William C. as a soldier or a statesman outshone that of any other people, and he's entitled to the highest place as a hero among men. Because Africa's created millions and countless millions of black men and women in war and peace, whose luster and bravery outshone that of any other people. So why not see good and perfection in ourselves? We must inspire literature and promulgate the doctrine of our own without any apologies to the powers that be. That's right, this hour God. Let sentiments and cross opinions go to the winds. We are entitled to our own opinions, And are not obligated to or bound by the opinions of others. If others laugh at you, return the laughter to them. If they mimic you, return the compliment with equal force. Because they have no more right to dishonor, discredit you in manhood than you have in dealing with them. Honor them when they honor you. Disrespect and disregard them when they rightly treat you. Their arrogance is but skin deep, an assumption that has no foundation in morals or in law. They have sprung from the same family tree of obscurity as we have. Their history is as rude in its primitiveness as ours. Their ancestors were running wild in living in trees of branches like monkeys as ours. They made human sacrifices, ate the flesh of their own death and wild meat from beasts for centuries, even as they have accused us of doing. Their cannibalism is more prolonged than ours. When we were embracing the banks of the Nile, they were still drinking blood of the skulls of their conquered dead. After our civilization had reached the noonday of progress, they were still living in holes with rats and other insects and animals. After we had already unfathomed the mystery of the stars and reduced the heavenly constellations to minute and regular calculus, they were still backwoodsmen living in ignorance and in blatant darkness.
Ignorance, you know.
The world is indebted to us for the benefits of civilization. They stole our arts and sciences from Africa. Then why should we be ashamed of ourselves? Their modern improvements to be reflected and resurrected by our generation and our posterity. Why should we be discouraged if somebody laughs at us today? Who's to tell what tomorrow will bring forth? Did they not laugh at Christ, Moses, Muhammad? Was there not a Carthage, Greece, and Rome? So we see and have changes every day. So pray, work, be steadfast, and be not dismayed. Because as the Jew is held together by his religion, the white race is by the assumption and the unwritten law of superiority, the Mongolian by the precious tie of blood. Likewise, the black man must unite in one grand racial hierarchy. Our union must know no clan, no nationality. But let us all hold together in every country and every clime, making a racial empire upon which the sun shall never set. Let no voice but your own speak to you from the depths. Let no influence but your own rouse you in time of peace and time of war. Hear all, but attend only to that which concerns you. Your allegiance shall be to your God, your race, your country. Remember that the Jew in his political and economic origins always prospered you. The white man is first a white man under all circumstances, so you can do no less. Be black, buy black, take black, and all that will take care of itself. Man is first a white man under all circumstances, so you can do no less. Be black, buy black, take black, and all that will take care of itself. Jew in his political and economic origins always prospered you. The white man is first a white man under all circumstances, so you can do no less. Be black, buy black, take black, and all that will take care of itself. Let no one inoculate you with evil doctrines to suit his own convenience. Charity begins at home. Doctrines to suit his own convenience.
Listen, my people.
Let no one inoculate you with evil doctrines to suit his own convenience. Charity begins at home. So first to thyself be true, and thou canst not then depart to no man. Because God and nature first made us what we are. And out of our own creative genius, we make ourselves what we want to be. Follow always that great law. Let God in the sky be our limit and eternity our measurement. There is no height to which you cannot climb without the active intelligence of your own mind.
Yes,
mind creates, and as much as we desire in nature, we can have through the creation of our own mind. And today, being scientifically the weaker race, you shall treat others only as they treat. But in your homes and everywhere possible, you must teach the higher development of science to your children. And make sure.
Absolutely.
And make sure that we have a race of scientists par excellence. For in religion and science lies our only hope to withstand the evil designs of modern materialism. Remember that we live, work, and play for a binding racial hierarchy, whose only natural, spiritual, and political limits shall be God and Africa at home and abroad. With God's dearest blessings, I leave you for a while. One love. Marcus, Mosiah, Bobby.
You see you? You see you?
Industrial Education for the Negro, written by Booker T. Washington and narrated by the Museum Audiobooks cast.
Fear is to lose control of one's nerves.
This is Up from Slavery, written by Booker T. Washington, narrated by Rodney Tompkins.
Yet alive.
Preface.
Ambition.
This volume is the outgrowth of a series of articles dealing with incidents in my life, which were published consecutively in the Outlook.
And makes him see himself
while they were appearing in that magazine, I was constantly surprised at the number of requests which came to me from all parts of the country, asking that the articles be permanently preserved in book form. I am most grateful to the Outlook for permission to gratify these requests. I have tried to tell a simple, straightforward story with no attempt at embellishment. My regret is that what I have attempted to do has been done so imperfectly. The greater part of my time and strength is required for the executive work connected with the Tuskegee Normal and Industrial Institute, and in securing the money necessary for the support of the institution. Much of what I have said has been written on board trains or at hotels or railroad stations while I have been waiting for trains, or during the moments that I could spare from my work while at Tuskegee. Without the painstaking and generous assistance of Mr. Max Bennett Thrasher, I could not have succeeded in any satisfactory degree. Chapter 1: A Slave Among Slaves. I was born a slave on a plantation in Franklin County, Virginia. I am not quite sure of the exact place or exact date of my birth, but at any rate, I suspect I must have been born somewhere and at some time. As nearly as I have been able to learn, I was born near a crossroads post office called Hales Ford, and the year was 1858 or 1859. I do not know the month or the day. The earliest impressions I can now recall are of the plantation and the slave quarters, the latter being the part of the plantation where the slaves had their cabins. My life had its beginnings in the midst of the most miserable, desolate, and discouraging surroundings. This was so, however, not because my owners were especially cruel, for they were not, as compared with many others. I was born in a typical log cabin, about 14 by 16 feet square. In this cabin, I lived with my mother and a brother and sister till after the Civil War, when we were all declared free. Of my ancestry, I know almost nothing. In the slave quarters, and even later, I heard whispered conversations among the colored people of the tortures which the slaves, including no doubt my ancestors on my mother's side, suffered in the middle passage of the slave ship while being conveyed from Africa to America. I have been unsuccessful in securing any information that would throw any accurate light upon the history of my family beyond my mother. She, I remember, had a half-brother and a half-sister. In the days of slavery, not very much attention was given to family history and family records, that is, Black family records. My mother, I suppose, attracted the attention of a purchaser, who was afterward my owner and hers. Her addition to the slave family attracted about as much attention as the purchase of a new horse or cow. Of my father, I know even less than of my mother. I do not even know his name. I have heard reports to the effect that he was a white man who lived on one of the nearby plantations. Whoever he was, I never heard of his taking the least interest in me or providing in any way for my rearing. But I do not find especial fault with him. He was simply another unfortunate victim of the institution which the nation unhappily had engrafted upon it at that time. The cabin was not only our living place, but was also used as the kitchen for the plantation. My mother was the plantation cook. The cabin was without glass windows. It had only openings in the side which let in the light, and also the cold, chilly air of winter. There was a door to the cabin, that is, something that was called a door, but the uncertain hinges by which it was hung, and the large cracks in it, to say nothing of the fact that it was too small, made the room a very uncomfortable one. In addition to these openings, there was in the lower right-hand corner of the room the cat hole, a contrivance which almost every mansion or cabin in Virginia possessed during the antebellum period. The cat hole was a square opening, about 7 by 8 inches, provided for the purpose of letting the cat pass in and out of the house at will during the night. In the case of our particular cabin, I could never understand the necessity for this convenience, since there were at least half a dozen other places in the cabin that would have accommodated the cats. There was no wooden floor in our cabin, the naked earth being used as a floor. In the center of the earthen floor, there was a large, deep opening covered with boards, which was used as a place in which to store sweet potatoes during the winter. An impression of this potato hole is very distinctly engraved upon my memory, because I recall that during the process of putting the potatoes in or taking them out, I would often come into possession of 1 or 2, which I roasted and thoroughly enjoyed. There was no cooking stove on our plantation, and all the cooking for the whites and slaves my mother had to do over an open fireplace, mostly in pots and skillets. While the poorly built cabin caused us to suffer with cold in the winter, the heat from the open fireplace in summer was equally trying. The early years of my life, which were spent in the little cabin, were not very different from those of thousands of other slaves. My mother, of course, had little time in which to give attention to the training of her children during the day. She snatched a few moments for our care in the early morning before her work began, and at night after the day's work was done. One of my earliest recollections is that of my mother cooking a chicken late at night and awakening her children for the purpose of feeding them. How or where she got it, I do not know. I presume, however, it was procured from our owner's farm. Some people may call this theft. If such a thing were to happen now, I should condemn it as theft myself. But taking place at the time it did, and for the reason that it did, no one could ever make me believe that my mother was guilty of thieving. She was simply a victim of a system of slavery. I cannot remember having slept in a bed until after our family was declared free by the Emancipation Proclamation. 3 children, John, my older brother, Amanda, my sister, and myself, had a pallet on the dirt floor, or to be more correct, we slept in and on a bundle of filthy rags laid upon the dirt floor. I was asked not long ago to tell something about the sports and pastimes that I engaged in during my youth. Until that question was asked, it had never occurred to me that there was no period of my life that was devoted to play. From the time that I can remember anything, almost every day of my life had been occupied in some kind of labor, though I think I would now be a more useful man if I had had time for sports. During the period that I spent in slavery, I was not large enough to be of much service. Still, I was occupied most of the time in cleaning the yards, carrying water to the men in the fields, or going to the mill, to which I used to take the corn once a week to be ground. The mill was about 3 miles from the plantation. This work I always dreaded. The heavy bag of corn would be thrown across the back of the horse, and the corn divided about evenly on each side. But in some way, almost without exception, on these trips, the corn would so shift as to become unbalanced and would fall off the horse, and often I would fall with it. As I was not strong enough to reload the corn upon the horse, I would have to wait sometimes for many hours till a chance passerby came along who would help me out of my trouble. The hours while waiting for someone were usually spent in crying. The time consumed in this way made me late in reaching the mill, and by the time I got my corn ground and reached home, it would be far into the night. The road was a lonely one and often led through dense forests. I was always frightened. The woods were said to be full of soldiers who had deserted from the army, and I had been told that the first thing a deserter did to a Negro boy when he found him alone was to cut off his ears. Besides, when I was late in getting home, I knew I would always get a severe scolding or a flogging. I had no schooling whatever while I was a slave, though I remember on several occasions I went as far as the schoolhouse door with one of my young mistresses to carry her books. The picture of several dozen boys and girls in a schoolroom engaged in study made a deep impression upon me, and I had the feeling that to get into a schoolhouse and study in this way would be about the same as getting into paradise. So far as I can now recall, the first knowledge that I got of the fact that we were slaves and that freedom of the slaves was being discussed was early one morning before day, when I was awakened by my mother kneeling over her children and fervently praying that Lincoln and his armies might be successful, and that one day she and her children might be free. In this connection, I have never been able to understand how the slaves throughout the South, completely ignorant as were the masses so far as books or newspapers were concerned, were able to keep themselves so accurately and completely informed about the great national questions that were agitating the country. From the time that Garrison, Lovejoy, and others began to agitate for freedom, the slaves throughout the South kept in close touch with the progress of the movement. Though I was a mere child during the preparations for the Civil War and during the war itself, I now recall the many late-night whispered discussions that I heard my mother and the other slaves on the plantation indulge in. These discussions showed that they understood the situation and that they kept themselves informed of events by what grapevine telegraph. During the campaign, when Lincoln was first a candidate for the presidency, the slaves on our far-off plantation, miles from any railroad or large city or daily newspaper, knew what the issues involved were. When war was begun between the North and the South, every slave on our plantation felt and knew that, though other issues were discussed, the primal one was that of slavery. Even the most ignorant members of my race on the remote plantations felt in their hearts, with a certainty that admitted of no doubt, that the freedom of the slaves would be the one great result of the war, if the Northern armies conquered. Every success of the Federal armies and every defeat of the Confederate forces was watched with the keenest and most intense interest. Often the slaves got knowledge of the results of great battles before the white people received it. This news was usually gotten from the colored man who was sent to the post office for the mail. In our case, the post office was about 3 miles from the plantation, and the mail came once or twice a week. The man sent to the office would linger about the place long enough to get the drift of the conversation of the group of white people who naturally congregated after receiving their mail to discuss the latest news. The mail carrier, on his way back to our master's house, would as naturally detail the news that he had secured among the slaves. And in this way, they often heard of important events before the white people led the big house as the master's house. I cannot remember a single instance during my childhood or early boyhood. Our entire family sat down at the table together, and God blessed the bag, and the family became committed to civilized manner on the plantation. And even later, it was forgotten by the children very much as dumb animals there. It was a piece of bread we used to there.
We'll find a way, no matter what everyone say. Not gonna stand in the rain and take the pain. Who's gonna turn on the lights and take away the pain and all the misery that we've been going through? Indigenous people, right now me calling for you, yeah. Who's gonna talk so the party can hear us? Rivers and valleys to cross, we have reasons, but we will move on with purpose. We'll find a way. I know we living every night and they say when I'm here. Find a way. Survival is the order of the day. Keep on knocking your door. Hey, where have you been? Just wanna be sure no one's in. Got to be careful, you never know what's going on. Kingston, I run red. Mind what you do and mind your head. Oh.
You've been in tune to the Blacknificent radio show here on the galaxyfre.net. We've had our sister Sandra who joined us on the Mind Soul Connection, and we look forward to linking up with you in the near future.
And if you try to fix more than you
Next up will be our sister Anoa.
You're the kind who takes the time to help a stranger in the rain. There's a place for people like you. If you stand up for those down on their knees and lend a voice to those who cannot speak. If you shine a little light, give sight to the ones who've lost their way. There's a place for people like you. I've heard up there the streets are made of gold, and when you get there, there's a hand to hold. Believe when your day's down here through, there's a place up there for people like you. If you walk around with your heart on your sleeve, and if you're trying to be the change you want to see, if you lay down your life for love so someone could be saved, there's a place for people like you. The streets are made of gold, and when you get there, there's a hand to hold. Believe when your days down here through, there's a place for people like you. Streets are made of gold, and when you get there, there's a hand to hold. Believe when your days down here all through here, there's a place up there for people like you. I know you're out there, so keep doing what you do. 'Cause there's a place up there for people like you. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh, tough many. Yeah, love. Come on, baby. It's you and me. How would you feel if I asked you to spend your whole life with me? Yeah. Baby, believe in me, 'cause a stronger love for you from someone else, it could never be. Said it's real, it's real, it's real. I never felt this way before. So say you'll be mine. Together we will open every door. Oh, baby. Together forever. You and me, just us two. Oh, we belong together, baby. Just us two. You get me, you get me. I don't want me to. Maybe we can make it right. We'll be together forever. You and me. When I was down, my love, you came along and picked me up and made me strong. Yes, it's true, baby. My love for you makes the night too short and my days too long. Yeah. Sunshine on a cloudy day, and I thank you to take this loneliness away. Yeah. Together forever, you and me, just us. Oh, yeah. You and me belong together, sharing everything that we do. Yeah. Ooh, you can be, I can be, ooh, baby. Baby, we can make it right. We'll be together forever. All right. Together forever. Step side to side. Baby, baby. Rainbow country. Hey, Mr. Music, sure sounds good to me. I can't refuse it. What's to be got to be? I feel like dancing